what I want to talk about is the reason why you need motivation. You know, most of you might have seen the movie The 300. And one of the things that was key in that movie was just something that leader said. He said, "Spartans, what is your profession?" And they said, "War." And the reason why I say that is, you see this man right here? You see this man on the back right here? Maya Angelou and countless other people, including people you know in your neighborhood, have been put here for you to learn how to deal with diverse and adverse situations. Case in point, it was in the 80s, and Ronald Reagan was president. Need I say more? You had to know somebody to get a dishwashing job. And I just needed to make some money. I was laid off from General Motors, and I had a baby girl, and I just needed to make some money to feed my daughter. I think I was on Riverdale Avenue, Yonkers, New York, and I was on like the 15th or 18th floor in my apartment with my girlfriend, and I was looking at the George Washington Bridge with a tear in my eye. And then D-Train was playing pretty loud on the radio. And they said, "You can make it if you only try. Don't stop reaching till you touch the sky. Life has many ups and downs. Plant your feet on solid ground. If you have a goal, set it in your mind. Reach for it. Say to yourself, this will be mine. Now take it easy, because rushing won't win. You just keep on pressing, my friend. There ain't no half-stepping. You've got to keep on pressing." And you have to start thinking. I said, this brother right here used to be a player, used to be pimping, used to be hustling, and then he woke up spiritually. And he handed us an example. And he said, look, you got to get yourself together spiritually. I remember Muhammad Ali making a statement one time. He said, if I took a pack of cigarettes and squeezed all the nicotine out of it, and you drank it, it would kill you right then and there. But you see, we get used to being the slow death, the subtle death. It's like, my mind is sleeping, but I'm wide awake. My mind is sleeping, but I'm wide awake. One drag, that's all it took. And see, and this is what I'm talking about. We got to pay attention to what we eat, pay attention to where we live, and pay attention to how we treat each other. There's something here that I know is going to make people uncomfortable. We suffer from post-traumatic slavery disorder. Some brothers in Boston wrote about that. They're not going to put us in the DSM, 4 or 5 or whatever. We suffer from post, which means after, trauma from slavery. And we hand it down from generation to generations. Slaves got beaten and whipped. Most of us got whippings and beatings and put down, fat boy, body dysmorphic stuff. You somebody like me, you're not black enough for white people. I mean, for you're not black enough for black people, and you're too dark for white people, so you're high yellow. You can't fit in anywhere. You ain't tall enough, you ain't short enough, you ain't rich enough, you're not poor enough, you're too smart in certain neighborhoods, you can't be too smart, and you ain't smart enough in others. Last hired, first fired, every single time. So we got this kind of trauma going on, just in general life. And then you got a bunch of people telling you, like right now, they're saying, everybody's got equal opportunity. So instead of getting mad at that, it's ridiculous. All men are created equal. No way. There's a such thing as white privilege, and I wrote about it in college. That's why I went to higher learning, And the understanding is this. Here's my point. So I start putting all these together. So I'm 60 years old. I'm going to be 61 in a couple of months. So I've been on the planet for a little while. Lived it, been in the streets of New York. And then I thought about it. I was watching this spiritual brother, and he said, there comes a moment when you just got to spin around on the bar stool and say, wait a minute. Now, I've been walking with God too long to let the enemy do me like this. I got to go through the circumcision process. You know what circumcision means? It means you to cut back that which is not necessary so you don't get infected. So you got to cut back your tongue, your nasty behavior. You don't know why? Because I'm on the verge of a breakthrough, and I can't afford to go back and go into the wilderness and go through what my father went through, go through what my two brothers went through, and all three of them are dead. I have to say, come on, Rodney, come on. Check yourself. Remember when we used to say that? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. There's nothing wrong with a brother like me taking a walk in the woods and confronting myself. I got to see what's going on and go through the trimming process. I got to trim back some of my behaviors. I used to think when I was young, the problem was I feared, women because I thought you had to be a player. You had to have game. You had to know how to lie and be deceptive. And I just couldn't get with it because I wasn't raised that way. And I remember one time being in the club and this girl I knew came and sat down. She said, "Oh my God, finally, someplace safe." And I said, "Safe? I'm safe?" I said, "What's up?" My boy used to say, "Oh, you got to get that punk out of you." And it wasn't punk. It was a person that knew and respected people. Now I got it going on. Now I know that was a powerful part of me that God put there. And I started waking up. And he woke me up. And he woke me up. And Maya woke me up. And she said, "Still I rise." So you got to remember, we didn't have enough people to bring some light to us. There is no reason for me or anybody who has gone, everybody on this planet has gone through prejudice and discrimination. Everybody on this planet has known pain. And this one didn't treat this one right. And the English didn't treat the Irish right. And it's all stupid because we just turn around and say, well, I had a hard soul. I think I'll do that to somebody else. And the Brazilians and the Puerto Ricans. And I don't understand all that. I don't get it. That's why I like Michael Beckwith. You see, it's inclusion. I don't get into all this, what your sexual preferences were. What does that have to do with me as a person? I don't run up to a heterosexual person and say, "Oh, so what's your sexual preference? How do you make?" I want to know if you're going to treat me like a human being. I don't care who you're sleeping with. You have a right to be with who you want to be with. If this is a free country, that's your right. My preference is women. Your preference is whatever it is. I've seen people throw their children out and what are you doing with that one over there? And I'm like, this is ridiculous for me. So I know what I'm going to do for me. And Wayne Dyer said something deep. He says, "You have tried everything else. Now try God." All of the counseling, tried to eat up everything, tried all the women, all the men, all the jobs, all the money, and you're still left wanting because you're going to be wanting. You're not supposed to worship all of that stuff. And then here you got people, "Well, I don't believe in God." And neither do I. I don't believe in God either. I don't believe half the stuff I can do. I don't believe I can go to the gym and work out. I don't believe I can run a marathon. I don't believe none of that. I know there's a God, and I know I can do it. I know this. I don't care what you or anybody else says about that. I know what I can do, and I get busy doing it. I'm busy trying to find some love and connection with people. You could be busy putting hoods on your head and doing whatever you want. It ain't new for me. So what I'm trying to do is carry on with the love. Last but not least, what did foreigners say? Well, before I get to that, think about Mariah Carey. She had a song, and who can't identify with this? She said, "Not more than 3 short years ago, I was abandoned and alone, without a penny to my name, so very young and so afraid. With just the shoes upon my feet, sometimes I couldn't even eat. I often cried myself to sleep, but still I had to keep on going, never knowing if I could make it, if I could take it, if I could make it through the night. I fell down on my knees. I struggled and I prayed, and now I finally found my way." You got to ask for help. You got to take a little time and think things over. Feel this stuff out. None of this stuff is new, y'all. Thousands of years we've been doing this. It doesn't make any sense. You got to work hard for what you want. Work for it, and the reward will be your pleasure. And you'll be able to control that. Just give it to me. I just want to lay around. You ain't going to get nowhere like that. You got to struggle. Man was meant for struggle. By his stripes, he is healed. And that's just the way it is. What?